What if the laughter we grew up with was never meant to make us laugh? What if The Simpsons was never a comedy but a countdown to the end of what we know? They showed us chaos long before it arrived. Elections that broke nations, pandemics that reshaped the world, wars that began as jokes. And now their timeline leads to 1 year, 2026. A World Cup that ends with death instead of victory. Frozen lands turning into oceans, cities silenced as the power grid collapses. Food no longer born from soil but printed by machines. For decades, we called it coincidence. We laughed it off. We moved on. But Springfield has always been more than a cartoon. It has mirrored our reality, frame by frame, year by year, until the two became one. The closer we move to 2026, the clearer it becomes that their fiction was a warning. The real question isn't how they saw the future, it's why we chose not to see it. Because once you understand what's coming, you will never look at The Simpsons the same way again. If this opened your eyes, drop a like and subscribe. Springfield, 1997. Homer joins the NRA and chaos quickly follows. In Season 9, Episode 5, the Cartridge Family, a soccer riot erupts on TV. Homer screams, "If Ronaldo doesn't win the World Cup, I'll die." At the time, it seemed like a throwaway line, just a joke in a cartoon, but now it feels far more sinister. The year is 2026 and the World Cup is in the USA, Canada, and Mexico. Cristiano Ronaldo will be 41, playing what may be his final shot at glory. Portugal is a dark horse with long odds, overlooked by most, but still capable of shocking the world. Homer clutching his chest at the TV was never meant to be ignored. If Portugal wins, the prophecy ends harmlessly. If they lose, that scream transforms into a curse. When the final whistle blows, the stadium erupts in chaos. Players clash, fans panic, security struggles to regain control, and the pitch descends into a storm of fury and confusion. Pause on his scream. It is not rage, it is fate. When the match ends, will anyone remember who predicted the consequences? And if Ronaldo lifts the trophy, will the world realize that what began as a joke on television was a prophecy all along? Season 16, Episode 11. Lisa and Bart take a field trip to Springfield Glacier National Park. When they arrive, they compare the glacier to old photographs and see the shocking difference. The solid ice that once dominated the landscape has melted gradually over time, leaving only traces of what was. The episode aired in 2005, 21 years before 2026. In 2025, Glacier National Park lost its last namesake glacier. Greenland shed 280 billion tons of ice, and Antarctica cracked a shelf the size of London. The empty field where ice once stood is a warning, a glimpse of 2026, when before photos become myths and memories fade into loss. Lisa stares at the glacier in silence, tracing the outlines of what once was. That is every child inheriting a planet that melted while we watched. Rewatch the slow vanishing of the ice. It is not a punchline. It is the end of winter. Rivers will rise, coastlines will vanish, and cities will face floods they were never prepared for. If the ice disappears completely in 2026, who will bear the cost? And when the last glacier dies, will you remember the field trip or only the warning it left behind? Season 13, Episode 22. A brutal heat wave hits Springfield. Homer plugs every fan, air conditioner, and fridge into a single socket. The power plant overloads and the town plunges into total blackout. Chaos erupts as looting, fights, and fires break out. Chief Wiggum quits and Homer becomes sheriff. The episode aired in 2002. In 2025, the Texas grid failed during a heat dome, India blacked out 600 million people, and Europe had to ration power. Homer's overloaded socket is more than a joke. It is 2026, when one extreme day could break the grid forever. Springfield in darkness is not just a cartoon vision. It is New York, London, Tokyo, silent, burning, lawless, every city at the mercy of a failing power system. Freeze on the blackout screen. It is not night. It is the future of power. In 2026, when the lights die, who keeps order? And if the grid collapses, will you survive the dark? Imagine a Thanksgiving dinner in Springfield, but not the one you know. In season 35, episode 7, Lisa, old and gray, brings a 3D food printer to the table. Steak, vegetables, and cake appear layer by layer from the glowing machine, building a meal out of code rather than soil. Years earlier, in season 23, episode 5, The Food Wife, Marge, Lisa, and Bart visit L Chemistry and encounter experimental 3D printed foods in test tubes and futuristic dining setups, a glimpse of what was coming. The episodes aired in 2023 and 2011, long before 2026. By 2025, Israel had successfully printed lab-grown steak, NASA tested 3D food printers for Mars missions, and Walmart filed patents for print-at-home meals. The glowing printer in Lisa's kitchen is no longer fiction. It is a warning of 2026, when farms fail and the food we eat will come from code. The kids eat in silence, unaware they have never tasted real dirt. Pause on the printer building a burger. This is not science fiction, it is supper. If food is printed in 2026, who controls the files? And when the last cow dies, will you even remember the taste of the world that once fed us naturally? A world teetering on the edge. Springfield saw 2026 before we did. A World Cup death curse, glaciers disappearing, cities in darkness, and food built from machines. Was it just a joke, or a warning hidden in plain sight? Maybe The Simpsons isn't predicting the future. Maybe it's urging us to change it before it's too late. The secrets of Springfield are out. Will you notice before 2026 arrives? The answers are in the frames, waiting for those who dare to look. If you're still watching, you're awake. Hit like, subscribe, and comment which prediction haunts you most. Tell us which Simpsons moment we should decode next. Keep watching the skies.